So, hello, fellow finders. We are back here with two other participants and partners of the Thinking In Festival, and this is Patrick Palucki and Steffen Lohrer. And you two are not only coming to the festival and offering content or practice, but you are also supporting the festival in terms of a cooperation with your institute and foundation. Maybe to start with you, Steffen, you have the Steffen Lohrer Foundation and you are a coach, as most people in our context, you're many things, obviously, but you are a coach and a therapist in a more Buddhist tradition. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm using a lot of techniques from the Buddhist philosophy. I'm not a Buddhist. I'm nothing. so, so yeah, I'm using a lot of techniques from different angles, from different philosophies, from the Tantra philosophy, from the Hindu philosophy, yoga philosophy, from Buddhism, Taoism. So, and it's melting into each other. So at the end, it's just being with what is, in a way. And that's how I work, to bring the other one in like a higher frequency. It's hard to explain in words, but normally they really get more conscious about things that are happening. So yeah, that's what I'm doing a lot of satsangs and healing meditation with 6,000 people. That's where my heart is also, because a lot of things are happening. That there are scientific studies that if there are a lot of people, more than 100 would be a good number, coming together with the same intention of love and compassion, they have influence on the environment. So that's what I'm using in the meditation with 6,000 people to create really a place and a field of love.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's what I'm doing next to an entrepreneur stuff, but I think that's for here is not so interesting.
Right, right, beautiful. So I have behind me this book by Bessel van der Kolk in the German edition. The English title is The Body Keeps the Score. I mean, Patrick, we two know each other since our school days, high school days, actually. Then we both had a very turbulent biography, to say the least. But recently, you are also, a professional and an entrepreneur in the field of trauma healing. Can you give some context to this?
Yes, of course. Yeah, I'm running and I founded an institute for the application of a novel method to heal psychotrauma, and this is called Palucki Institute. And we have started also a training program in this method. And this method is based on, it's using to pick up on the book behind you by Bessel van der Kolk. It's basically a somatic approach, but it's also it's using the body, and it's inducing non-ordinary states of consciousness with breath work.
Mhm.
And yeah, and this method was discovered now 16 years ago, and it has kept on producing outstanding results in terms of the success rate, the speed of the treatment, and the gentleness, the softness. That, yeah, we did university research study, and well, here we go. We are training psychotherapists now in this method. And yeah, that's my background.
Basically, you're both on the crossroads of trauma healing or therapy and spirituality, right?
Mm. Yeah, like business, spirituality, coaching, healing. So it's at the end, it's one anyway. So it's not a separation,
Right.
depending who is doing it, who is there to connect. Yeah.
Mhm. But there's also, sorry.
Yeah, to say something about the trauma and spirituality. Yes, that could be said like this. I would probably nowadays use the term holistic, as we are training psychotherapists, and the word spirituality for them, especially in the, let's say, German-speaking countries, is a bit of a, not clear and ambivalent. But yeah, it's basically bringing holistic measures and methods like positive psychology, emotion, somatics, non-ordinary states of consciousness to the process of therapy.
Mm-hmm. We just talked before and found out that we have kind of the similar thing that we're going on. I'm also working with therapists and coaches and people who want to work with others. And yeah, it's also like my name is Holistic Healing Coach or Holistic Healing Healer. And it's about like the same as in my foundation. It's about looking at mankind or looking at people in a broad range. So what is the body? What is the mental level, the emotional level, the energetic level, to work also energetically, and consciousness. So I understood, Patrick, it's kind of similar. You go in the holistic levels and you check where's the other one, and then you use some methods for that.
Mm-hmm. Now, there's a number of other similarities or so between you two. And one is that obviously we all have some connection to the 45 days finders community, perfectly okay, and so on. So Patrick, how did it come that you met Jeffrey, and you had also some working experience also with Sanjay Manchanda, who will also come to the Thinking In Festival?
Yeah, so I've been a consciousness explorer and developer pretty much my entire life, also my adult life and professional life. And before going full time on this invention of this trauma therapy, I was actually pioneering the development of a brain-computer interface to be used for meditation specifically. And virtual reality at the time. And that's how I got introduced to Jeffrey on a conference in Silicon Valley, actually. And a little later, and separate of this, I also happened to visit Sanjay in his lab and practice in Arizona, where he was also already using neurotechnology to experiment with altered states of consciousness and spirituality.
So, and you also then had experiences, or you were experimenting with this helmet that he will also bring to the Thinking In Festival. What's the name of that helmet?
Yes, I had an experience with photobiomodulation at some other time. At the time, Sanjay was putting some electrical currents through my brain, inducing alpha, beta 1, beta 2, and gamma waves, which was absolutely fascinating.
All right. And as we can see, you did not only survive, but seem to have come out quite happy out of this. So, Stefan, you have also an interest or some background in science. I mean, that is about the really dynamic triangle at the moment, right? I think trauma therapy or therapy, spirituality, and science or high tech, really.
Yeah, on my way, I looked always for scientific studies to see what is science telling me. Could this be right, what I'm really see in front of my eyes? And I was together with some mediums and channel mediums. So at the beginning, it was a little bit hard for me. I was electrical engineer and I had to
Oh,
prove everything in that way. And my first story that brought me in this area was accompanying my friend, my best friend, to Brazil to a healer, because my friend had metastasis, like cancer all over the body. And there was his last opportunity. And we went to the healer. We walked across him, and I thought, okay, now he will touch him. Nothing. He just looked at him and told him, it will be all right. You will heal again. And then it took a little bit time, but he's still alive. So he healed. That was the beginning. And so then I was traveling a lot to prove that this cannot be right, what I saw with my eyes here. And so, but at the end, I saw so different philosophies that now everything is possible. There's no limit. The sky is the limit, even that not. Yeah. So some things you cannot explain with technology or with science. That's what I took out of it.
You know, if it heals my cancer, I would not really give a damn about what kind of study or so is
Whatever.
behind it. And just, you know, be full of gratitude. Yeah, that's really fascinating and cool. And I think that is anyway at the moment, you know, that we are pushing the limits of what we think is possible really further and further and further. I mean, we are so much pushing the edges, and I think that is also something that you two are doing very much to, yeah, to be engaged in making the seemingly impossible real. I mean, also in trauma therapy, you know, I had recently a conversation of Facebook with a person who basically insisted that her traumatization is unhealable. And she got very, very angry when I said, sorry, but you know, I think something is possible, because she was so identified with her pain and with her story and so on. So I think it's quite hopeful times that we are engaged in, not withstanding all the terrible things that we see in the world, but in the end, I think that is really the direction we have to go to, yeah, get to a better place as a global society, right?
Absolutely.
Mm.
Absolutely. I mean, the advances in consciousness at large, both in understanding it scientifically and understanding it in the West, bringing together, validating all the incredible wealth of the wisdom traditions. A lot of it, at least, the important stuff, one after the other. It's absolutely amazing, and developing tools and bringing them to the West and globally is amazing. And one thing that I would like to mention is my interest here now in the finders community, in connection with trauma and the training program that we do, is that we really would like to have healed healers participate and become trained in, you know, in our trauma therapy. We don't believe in wounded healers. We would believe in healed wounded healers. But yeah, we think that, you know, to be a therapist in general, and perhaps in the and also especially in the trauma field, you should be an example for the client, you know, where to orientate towards. And so having this crowd of finders who certainly have, you know, transitioned to in a state of perfectly okayness, or however you want to call it, would be an ideal crowd to source from, if they have also a psychotherapy background or a psychosocial background, or a like even a coaching background. So yeah. I'm looking forward to the event at the castle, and happy to explain there, you know, the beneficial aspects of for being a practitioner in this method, also for the practitioner himself.
So, Steffen, you will offer also, a lecture basically about your experience as a healer, also practical sessions for all participants, but also 101. Could you explain that a bit?
Here in Heidelberg, I'm doing 4 or 5 times in a year, like evening meetings. And the evening meeting is starting with a short talk, then a lot of question and answers. And at the end, I'm doing a group healing with all the crowd. And that goes very deep because there are a lot of people there. So this is amplifying. And kind of the same I will do in the castle if people are open for it. So I can talk about energy healing in general, how it works, what is the background, what helps, what not. And yeah, then a lot of question answers and the same like a group healing meditation in a way, 10, 15 minutes at the end. And yeah, I'm really happy to dive into this field because I have been in your castle and the energy is wow. I love the energy, so it will create a lot of yeah.
No, I'm so happy to hear that. Funny enough, Patrick has also been to the castle, but like Steffen, you have been here, I think, what was it, in January, right?
And I guess, yeah.
2024, and Patrick, I think, has been here 15 years ago. It was still a quite rundown place in a rather dilapidated state, yeah. So Patrick, you hear something has developed from the state you remember. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, and as we see here, the Sinking In Festival has a number of functions, and one is certainly also that it is a networking event, which is, something you can hardly prevent if interesting people are coming together. But in January, when Steffen was here, we had a first retreat of the German Finders group here. And it was, I think, 10 people or so. And it was just so fantastic, just if you have a number of finders coming together, and you're not held back by, too much neurotic stuff that you have to deal with all the time, but, you can charge forward quite amazingly in a very short time. All right. So thank you very much, gentlemen, and I'm looking very much forward to see you from July 10th to July 14th here in Weitersroda Castle. The website is sinking-in.de for Deutschland. Okay, see you soon.
See ya.